Are you ready to raise your revenues with an elevated service experience? Xtime is the end-to-end solution you need to pump up your profits and deliver what your customers demand, a more digital, more convenient service experience. From scheduling and service approvals with pictures and video to payment, put each step of the service process in the palm of your customer's hand. To create the ultimate digital service experience, start here. Spectrum is the combination of all 4 fully connected Xtime products. Invite, schedule, engage, inspect. Spectrum joins each step of the service visit to the next. Schedule. Keep customers coming back with convenient online appointment scheduling and service pickup and delivery options. Maximize your service department's potential with robust shop management and scheduling controls. Engage. Expand customer retention in dollars per RO with a powerful tool for personalized tablet reception, customer self-check-in, instant access to declined services, and text communication. Inspect. Inspire trust through transparency while boosting revenue, shop efficiency, and customer satisfaction with a built-in digital multi-point inspection process. Invite. Visualize and target unsold shop capacity while recapturing declined services with this effective marketing and demand generation tool. Take service to new heights by delivering what your customer expects and what they demand. We're here to help. Retain customers, grow fixed operations revenue. Xtime. Lift your service, raise your revenue.
In the life of your vehicle, dings and dents will happen. Our dent protection program is a fast and hassle-free way to keep your vehicle looking great. If a dent under 4 inches occurs, we'll dispatch a technician to return the metal to its original state, with no need for intrusive sanding or repainting. This program includes unlimited repairs, 0 out-of-pocket expenses, no deductibles, and a lifetime guarantee. Additionally, we offer hail damage coverage for up to $1,000 towards your insurance deductible. Your new vehicle is a big investment. With PermaPlate Dent Protection, you can keep your vehicle's resale value up, get fast and easy service, and keep your car looking as good as the day you bought it. Dent Protection. Protection for what moves you.
I'm so excited to welcome Crystal Garrison and Jasmine Johnson from Bozard Ford Lincoln, followed by the Service Retention Panel and Dan Drews with ARV. All that and more just ahead at Fixed Ops Roundtable number 10.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, everyone. I'm Gene Girdley, along with Ted Ings, your host. And man, we are having a great time here so far, Ted, at Rev It Up. And a very special presentation right now. Our good friend, Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln, has 2 of his very important team members with us today. Ed, tell us who's with us.
Not only are they 2 of my important people, but they're 2 of my favorite people. And today I have Jasmine Johnson She manages our communication center. Some dealers call that their BDC. What we call a communication center here because dealers lack communication, and we want to make sure we communicate. And then I also have Crystal Garrison, and she runs our fleet department as well as our mobile team. And most of the time acts as my assistant, so I keep her busy.
Well, Ed, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing everybody aboard. And, I've had an opportunity in the past to work with Crystal on some of the initiatives that you've helped us with here at the Roundtable. Jasmine, I've heard so much about you. So welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'd like to get a little bit of background. All right. So you're both successful and you're working at a successful dealership as well in St. Augustine, Florida. Crystal, I'll go to you first. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the retail car business and maybe what you were doing before and what brought all of this on.
Well, completely by accident. I worked with attorneys for about 8 years, and the economy tanked and nobody was hiring, and I was just looking for a job because I needed something to pay the bills. And I stumbled upon I forget what the title was, but it was basically answering phones in the service department. There was no BDC or communication center, and so I was the only girl there that was answering phones, and I guess it was the GM's assistant, kind of trained me on what she wanted me to do, and fast forward, here we are.
Oh wow! So you were doing that alone when and of course the dealership was a lot smaller, in terms of size and volume, I would imagine back then.
At the time, yeah, it was a little bit. I think they had 3 service advisors when I first was hired there. It wasn't here; I was at a different store.
Okay, all right. And then when did you come over to Bozard?
Ed came to Bozard and abandoned me, and I love telling that story. He laughs about it, but it was rather traumatic at the time. And he came to Bozard, but he did take me with him, and that's how we wound up here.
Oh wow! Okay, amazing, great. Jasmine, what got you into the retail car business?
Well, I was going to school and I was looking for a job that would work with my school schedule. So I was on Indeed and I seen the communication specialist position open. I'm like, I'm hoping they can work with my schedule. So I applied and I got hired on the spot, and I've been here ever since.
So you oversee that department. How many people working in there with you?
I have 7 women with me now.
Okay, and I imagine hours are staggered, for the different employees.
Yes, we open at 7 and we have someone there until 7 p.m.
Okay, so what kind of communications do you handle typically? I would imagine there's some service appointments involved, but what else?
We do a lot of service. It's mostly service. We take care of sales. We transfer calls. You got finance, transferring calls to advisors. We do a lot.
I know Bozard is recognized nationally and by Ford as one of the best dealerships, and I think the largest shop now in the Eastern United States. How important is training to Bozard, and how much of how much of does training impact what your dealership does, and in other words, onboarding, new hiring, and then continuous improvement? Crystal, I'll go to you first on that.
The industry changes, the vehicles change. Everything is always the only thing that you can count on in the automotive industry is that it's going to change. So there's constant, tests and that Ford provides for us with new products. And then the dealership, we have meetings and, focus groups and things like that to keep communication flowing and keep everybody on the same page. But the dealership is really good about keeping everybody informed, not just what the department's doing, but as a whole, what the dealership big picture is doing.
Do you have meetings every so often? And if so, how often?
Advisors have a meeting every 2 weeks before the store opens. And we cry about it every week because it's at, I think, 6:20 or 6:30 in the morning. But technicians meet daily, every morning before work. Every department has their own meetings, but we meet quite often.
What time does service open for write-up during the week, Monday through Friday?
It was 7 to 7.
Okay, 7 a.m. All right, so you got to be there early for that
Right.
meeting with the advisors. Okay, and are you a part of that meeting as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Jasmine, I would imagine training is also a big part in the communications department that you run as well.
Yes, I'm also a part of the service advisor meeting, even though I'm not a service advisor. Communication is really important. So I have to make sure I get everything over to my department to make sure we get everything done. I do the hiring, and I also train all of the whoever I bring on. I train myself. I want to make sure they're up to Beaux-Arts standard. I want them to. I make sure they know everything they have to know before I let them go and answer calls. We have a very high call volume, and I have to make sure they're good to go.
So Jasmine, when you hire someone new, are you looking for someone with automotive experience, or is that not as important as other attributes that you'd be looking for?
It is not as important. When I look for someone, I'm looking for someone that's detail oriented, dependable, someone that's able to lead, someone that can handle stress really well. So yeah, automotive background is not as important. I could teach you that. I need someone that's willing to learn.
Give me an example from some, what other jobs have people had that have ended up coming, to work at Beaux-Arts? What kind of things did they do before outside of the car business?
You have you have some people that come from like restaurant background. You have some that come from call centers that's bigger, like places like Florida Blue and stuff like that. You have some people that can come from like, small business, cleaning companies, housekeepers. That's it comes from various backgrounds.
And the training that you give, once somebody's on board, what kind of stuff are you training on? Is it what to say to the customer, or is it on maybe different trends that are happening right now? Talk to me a little bit about that.
When I train, I'm training on, for one, what Beaux-Arts expects. Also, I train them on like how to answer calls. I don't use a script. I rather tell you how to handle a situation and let it be very like personal. Like I don't want them to sound like a computer. So I train them to feel like confident on answering questions. So I give them like pricing and how to transfer calls, how to use the phones, how to handle heat cases, everything like that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you both this question, and I'll come to you first, Crystal, with this. We know it's important to hire a diverse staff, including women, female employees at the retail to dealership level. How important is that to, what you do at Beaux-Arts and, in the overall picture, bringing on, women and, not just men, because historically this business has been male dominated, as I'm sure you all know.
And I don't think it's just, that they're looking for females. It's you're looking for the right person to fill the role, male or female. So we're about half and half, which seems to be a pretty good mix. We complement each other pretty well. And we do work mainly on a team structure, advisors and in the shop. And most of us are paired up, men and women, just because it works. I mean, we're different, and, different things are important to us. We're focused on different things, but the same with our customers. Our customers are different. All of our customers aren't men. All of our customers aren't women. So I think it's super important to have that balance, because we feed off of each other's strengths and weaknesses and just, help each other out.
Jasmine, what do you think?
When you say females, I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I just want a team player. I want someone that can come in and work well with others, regardless if you're a male or female. As long as you're able to pull the team and help out and do great, I'm happy.
Would you say that culture is a big factor, the dealership's culture, and
yes.
making sure that you hire people who can fit into that culture?
Yes. Beaux-Arts is different. This is like the best job I ever had. I actually love my job. I've had so many jobs, but this is the first time I can honestly say I love my job. And when someone come on, I just feel like they have to have positive energy, great attitude, and willing to work with others. Because if you can't do that, you'll hate it here.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Crystal? What do you think?
Well, Jasmine has been a smidge modest. Her girls are phenomenal. And being a former BDC, communications specialist or whatever, someone who answered the phones, it's a hard job. They're the front line. They're the first person that the customers talk to generally. And Jasmine's girls are top notch. They know what to do. She has, like she said, she doesn't script them. So they're all different. They tailor to the customer. So each experience is different for the customer based on what they need. But she has just information, documents on recalls. Like when the girls make appointments, they make a meaningful appointment. They're not just booking a slot for the shop and then we get all jumbled up. Like she actually can make appointments that mean something, and it just helps everything flow. So Jasmine's been a smidge modest about what she does and the training that she does with her girls.
I will say my girls can tell you how long a recall will take, what it's for. Like they can go really deep into detail with a simple appointment. I can tell you they're informed for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Jasmine, that's really rare, because a lot of times, in dealerships around the country, we've got to go back and check with the advisor and get information from them. But it sounds like your staff is really versed in what to say.
Oh yeah, I created a recall list. With every recall that Ford has ever made, to make it even easier. If my girls don't know off the top of their head, they can literally go on that list and they can explain it to the customer as if they're a service advisor themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I like that idea, having that information available to them. Any other unique stuff that you've done like that? Because I haven't seen that at a whole lot of dealerships.
I also I feel like from my experience with other dealers, when it comes to training, they are kind of like go with the flow, learn as you go. I've created an actual booklet. When I hire someone, I have a book and it tells you piece by piece how to make one complete appointment. So coming in, I give that to them before they start, and coming in the first day of training, they are able to do a whole appointment for Quick Lane without my help.
That's pretty strong. And Crystal, you oversee both the fleet and, did you say, the mobile initiative as well at Bozard's doing?
Yes, sir. We have 2 mobile trucks.
All right. So what do you oversee there in terms of mobile?
Mobile has been really fun because it's new, and so for lack of a better term, we make it up as we go. And the customers love it. And COVID just kind of was the perfect time to open up to that, because customers were scared to come to us, but they still had needs. So we were able to go to them. And we started out with our municipalities, and some of our fleet customers is where we really started to hit it hard to help them, because everyone was feeling the stress. And so going to them, it just alleviated some of that, canceled out some of their downtime and helped them stay on the road and do things that they needed to do. And then also, twofold, it freed up some capacity in the shop as well, because I had guys out on the road, taking care of customers' vehicles. And then we opened it up to, retail customers, and it's been well received. They absolutely love it. We go to their house, they meet the technician. The technician is a real person, that they see, that shows them, hey, this is what's going on with your car. They can show it to them in their driveway. And it can be as personable, or as, sit on your couch and we'll ring your bell and give you your keys when you're done. So it really has been so easy to tailor to what the customers need, because I'm in your driveway. If you want to hang out, cool. If you don't, then we'll give you your keys when you're done.
We did a segment earlier today with Ed Roberts on mobile service. I just realized we should have had you on that panel. Oh, sorry, Ed. I have one last question for both of you ladies, and Crystal, I'll come to you first on this one. And you kind of already have started leaning into it. What's the biggest learning from the last 12 months? Because I watched last spring when you were having your meetings. It looked like in the morning outside the dealership with everybody, pulling everybody together. What would you say was the biggest takeaway? Crystal, and then Jasmine. Crystal first, with what happened in the last 12 months.
It's just taking care of people like that. We're in the car business, but we're in the people business. And that has been highlighted even more now with people being scared and uneasy. And it's just, read people and offer them options and just provide what they need.
Good advice. Jasmine?
I will say I've learned that we have found so many ways to make the car business as comfortable as possible since COVID. The owners, our managers, we have found so many ways to make sure the customer is okay when it's time to get their car serviced. If it's the mobile truck going to them, if it's us just doing pickup and delivery and on their vehicles, if it's us using a shuttle, we have found so many ways to make sure the customers are happy with coming out or staying home. We make sure we can take care of them in any type of way.
I love it. That convenience factor has been strong. Jasmine Johnson and Crystal Garrison from Bozard Ford Lincoln, thank you so much for being with us today here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you both for keeping Ed Roberts in line. So we appreciate him. He's been a big part of our events as well.
Yeah, we love him. He's pretty great.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, Ted, I knew that Ed was a great guy and really brilliant, but after watching this interview with Jasmine and Crystal, I know it for a fact. He's a brilliant guy to be putting together a great team like Jasmine and Crystal and the rest of the team at Bozard Ford. Folks, the Strategies for Retaining Service Customers panel is sponsored by Repair Pal, and it's next. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, everyone. I'm Gene Girdley, and Ted Ings is the moderator for our next very special panel. Ted, I'll let you do the formal introduction. Thanks for being there.
Hey, Gene, we've had an amazing event so far, and we got a lot more to come, and we're really excited about this panel. This one's been in the works for some time, and it's going to be talking about what happens after the warranty is over. What's the plan? Do we have a plan? How do we execute that plan? So these are going to be strategies for retaining service customers beyond the warranty. And I want to go ahead and introduce our distinguished panel. And we've got some really expert retail folks on here. I want to start with Ann. If you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I'm Ann Lister. I'm service manager here in Williams Honda.
Great. And you're up in New York State, is that right?
Yes, upstate New York in the Finger Lakes.
I love it. You getting some snow this time of year?
It's cold. It's about single digits, so
Yeah,
a little chilly here.
Got some cold weather. Also from New York State, want to introduce and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Tom Drzezinski. Tom, go ahead.
Thanks for having me. I'm Tom Drzezinski. I'm the Director of Service Operations for the Wester Automotive Group.
Fantastic, Tom. Thanks for being with us. And everybody, by the way, if there's anything with the mute mics, Gene will clean all that up in post-editing, so don't worry about it. Jeff Daniel, coming to you next. Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. It's from the sunshiny state of, well, no, actually cold and almost snowy, Kalamazoo, Michigan, Maple Hill Auto Group. It's a pleasure to be with this panel.
Love it. Great time of year to be in that part of the world. I love it. All right, let's make our way west over to Stephen Hill. Steve.
Steve Hill, Service Director, I-10 Toyota out in Indio, California, home of Coachella Fest.
Oof, loving the weather this time of year there, Steve. Thanks
Yeah.
for being here. Appreciate it very much. And also very honored to have first time at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, the great Shannon Eckel. Shannon, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. How are you?
Great. Tell us,
Good.
who are you?
Well, Shannon Eckel. I'm with Epsilon's Ford Consumer Connection, Southern California representative for them. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And a longtime retail person as well, Shannon.
Absolutely. So, prior service directors for quite a few different franchises. That's correct.
Great. Fantastic. And last but not least, I want to introduce the sponsor of our panel today is Art Shaw. Art?
Yeah, Art Shaw. I run Repair Pal, and I'm delighted to be among this distinguished panel today.
And we want to thank Repair Pal so much for sponsoring the panel. Art, we appreciate it very much, and looking forward to digging in here and getting some great information. So I want to start the panel off by asking a question. Ann, I'm going to come over to you first. Okay, the warranty is up. What are we going to do to keep our customers coming back?
Great question, Ted. Thank you for having me. So the warranty is up. However, it starts day one when the customer first enters our service department. Customer service is key. So we have to train to retain. That's our motto, train to retain. So I think it's good to think about every loyal customer once started off as a new customer. So how do we keep them loyal? What keeps them coming back? So, you know, we have in my manufacturer, which is Honda, we're very maintenance heavy. So we get everybody on a maintenance schedule. We do menus. We perform, we like to keep people on increments, 5, 10, 15,000 mile increments, very easy to remember. And we also try to, number one, set that first appointment, set the next appointment. So we set that expectation that they don't need to go anywhere else. They want to come to us. We like to have dare to compare boards because let's face it, people have that perception that dealerships are stealerships. We need to change that. So when the warranty is up, that's 336, 3 years, 36,000 miles. That's a long time. We have that much time to get them to love us, for us to take care of them. It starts with customer service.
And I got to ask you, going back to the menu, do you have a paper menu? How exactly do you do
We
that?
do. So we have a paper menu. So we've tried a couple of different things. We put it up on our on a service board, and we also do a paper menu. So we've done it like 5,000. What are the services that you get with a 5,000? What are the services you get with a 10,000? So it's very simple to follow. It's very simple to understand. And we like to have transparency pricing because everybody wants transparency. So we train everyone to be transparent and to be continue for that number one customer service. It's so very important from day one.
I know those Hondas are almost maintenance free here. Customers tell me.
Yeah, they're repair free. They're repair free, but they're maintenance heavy. So we like to protect your investment. So it's very important to give them a maintenance schedule and then teach them to follow it.
And are they good with that 5,000 mile increment? Is that easy to understand, especially as the vehicle gets older?
Yes, it really is because it's simple math. 5, 10, 15, 20, very simple math for them to understand and for them to remember.
Now, Tom Drzezinski, you've got a lot of franchises under your wing there. So how do you do it? How do you keep customers that coming back after the warranty is over?
Well, excuse me, I could go 10 different directions with this. Really, there are 3 big drivers to why people want to do business with you, right? You've got price, trust, convenience. Trust, we do a good job with that, building that through the cycle. As Ann said, we teach them price wise that we're not the most expensive. We don't have to be the cheapest, but we're generally not the most expensive. Convenience, I think, is a lot of times where we lose the battle, right? When you've got an oil change place that's on every corner, or you might have to drive past 5 of them to get to work, you're not necessarily driving past one of my stores to get to work. Now, I don't necessarily have one of my dealerships in an area where you live. So if I want you to do business with me, I have to make it as easy as possible. I have to consider things like just the way that we schedule, making sure that we are open convenient times, making sure that we communicate the way the customers want us to communicate with them, text, namely. The pickup and delivery options, all of the things that some of the more progressive dealers are doing now. And I think COVID pushed us in that direction, especially with the contactless and the text to pay and all of those different functions. That's a big part. The other portion of it is do everything. You want to be the one-stop shop for that customer. You don't want them to have to go someplace else to get a windshield done. You even if you have to handle the sublet, you want to be the one phone call that they make, whether they want accessories, whether they want, glass, collision, all of those things are integral into building that ownership cycle. And if I learned anything, it was during our last panel, tires. If you're not in the tire game, you're just sending them away.
And that's a huge point of defection, somewhere around that 25, 30,000 mile range when customers need tires and they end up going somewhere else and you see the numbers just fall off. And I imagine with all the franchises you've got, you study those numbers and you got a lot going on there, Tom.
Yes, we do across many different manufacturers.
Another person who has a lot on their plate is Jeff Daniel. Jeff, you do a great job up there. Tell us, what do you do when the warranty runs out? What's the plan? Is there a plan?
There has to be a plan, and it combines everything that Ann said. When they walk in the door, the sales department traditionally, the handoff is always, there's the service door, there's the service drive. If you're lucky, they get introduced to an advisor. If they don't, you have that first opportunity when they walk in the door at 5,000 or 6,000 miles, meet, greet, handshake. Well, I can't do that anymore, but you have the opportunity to start establishing that relationship at 6,000 miles. The average age of the car right now is 11 years plus on the road. So my average age of vehicles coming in the door is a little over 7.5 years old. So we're doing a pretty good job of keeping them in place, because you build it with training that customer. When the expectations, when they walk in your door, they're going to get a multi-point inspection. They're mad if they go home and they don't have that inspection. One of the best phone calls I get is a customer that calls back and said, I was just there and nobody went over my MPI, and I don't know where my brakes are at. Thank you. That means we've trained that customer to know what those expectations are. And then it's reputation management. It's making sure that, if everybody is complaining on a survey that your price point is too high, that's not a valid excuse. Put it up on a board, put a reader board with your competition, with oil change prices, brake prices. Let people witness it. Let people, do the dirty work for them and say, listen, there's the price of the big box store right down the road. Here's my price. It's $5 difference, but you know what? I'm going to give you a loaner car. I'm going to give you a free car wash when we're done. Oh, by the way, you're my customer, so you get a 20% discount because you're a VIP customer at the store. By the way, we're going to introduce you to a maintenance program and upsell it on the service drive, and that's a big one. Some of the manufacturers aren't big in it, but if you can walk that person into finance, or better yet, do it on the drive where your advisor is engaged and knows how to do it and knows how to upsell that, and take that 20K service and convert it into 100K, you just lock that customer in. And that's the key. That's something that we can offer at the dealership level that you can't get that at a big box location. And it starts with the advisor. We spend so much time training them to retain them. Then Ann's hit it on the head. You got to train your customers what your expectations are, and then hit it every time they're in the door.
That multi-point inspection you just mentioned that the customer now has grown to expect at your group, how do they get that? Is that electronic to the customer? Is it paper? Some combination?
It is a combination of three. We have video MPI, we have paper MPI, we can text it to them, we keep a file on hand, we print it and hand it to them if they prefer. The majority of my clientele for one of my brands is north of 60, north of 50 anyway. They want paper. They want it read to them. They want it details. They want to see the red, yellow, and green, and what does it mean? And they want that experience that the advisor gives them. They don't have to know everything about their car, and that's not what the advisor's job is. It's now building a relationship so that when they come back in the door, they walk right past that new advisor and they go to their advisor. They don't remember their name maybe, but after 2 or 3 visits they do, and they'll wait in line for whoever, and because they know their car. And the same thing with a technician. When a technician continually works on the same car, and you look at the history and you give it back to the same person. Independents and cars that are out of warranty, you go to an independent business and they have such a their job's on the line. It's their business. So you can talk to the guy that's going to do the work on the car. You're talking to the mechanic that's maybe the son or the nephew or the uncle or whatever. When you get a technician in a dealership, they're looking at you as a tag number. You're tag 285 or you're tag 275. It's as simple as, this is Mrs. Wilson. She's tag 285. Can you bring up so-and-so to talk to her about what's going on with her car? Not every technician will do that, but boy, when you start doing that, now you lock that customer into a technician and an advisor. When they come pick the car up, you do the same thing. You announce their name along with a tag number. So you're building a bond with them, that it's not, hey, I need 285 pulled from the back lot, please, to the porter. It's, can you pull Mrs. Wilson's car number 285? And again, it shows that you care. We can't do everything that some of the independents do, but by God, we've got a lot more resources than meet the eye.
And you said, Jeff, the average age, say it again, was how old of the vehicle?
The last I looked, and I ran last year's numbers, and it was 7 years, 8 months old is my average vehicle with 83,000 miles.
And Single Point Honda store, upstate New York. What's average age of the vehicles that you got there coming through the drive?
So same, 7, 8 years old. People are keeping their cars longer now. And maintenance is a big deal to them because it's preventative. That's how we say preventative maintenance. You want to keep your car. This is what you're going to need to do to get a few more years out of it.
Steve Hill, you got a pretty reliable product there with Toyota. Tell us what's your plan? What do you do when the warranty runs out? How do you plan for that?
Well, it's twofold. One, it's what do we have in place to make sure that we keep them coming back in, Ted? The prepaid maintenance that Jeff started talking about, that is key. Yeah, we have Toyota Care, so the first 5 services are already covered. That's part of it. Now, with the prepaid maintenance afterwards, we can capture them for the next 5 after. So in selling those prepaid maintenance, even with Toyota Care being free, we're seeing about a 73 to 74% rate of folks actually coming in to use those. We still have folks that'll go out to the Jiffy Lube, et cetera, to go in and pay out of pocket when they do have, whether it's convenience of where we're at, et cetera. But when you sell a prepaid maintenance package, our utilization now has jumped up to 88%. The people have invested their own money into it. So and that's 88% back at our dealership. The percentage goes even higher if we look at folks that are snowbirds, et cetera, that are going to be going to another store. So we're capturing them there, but it's also in other creative patterns. Tires were touched on earlier. So when we sell tires, we offer free rotations for life, free tire repairs. We offer a lifetime alignment. We're going to align your vehicle every 6 months when you come in for that next service interval. You pay one fee up front, and we've got a contract that sets them up with that. It'll be twice a year. It's anything that we can do to be that one-stop shop. Now, on the other part, I've got a story I share with new hires. When I first took this store back over, our facilities manager is like, man, you guys really have it hard. What can you sell with all these new cars coming in? They only have 5, 10, 15,000 miles. And I shared with them, I'm selling me. As an advisor, they're selling them. They're already here. They bought the car. You are selling the experience of doing business with Steve Hill. And that's where it's at. If you've built that relationship up, we can have all the gimmicky stuff. We can have everything else. But if I built that relationship up at 5, 10, 15, 20, when it comes 60, 65, 70, they're not going anywhere else. I'm not giving them a reason to look somewhere else. That's where your retention's at. You're selling you. And every advisor that I share that with, the light bulb goes off. It's like, you're right. Yeah, sell the green, but sell you. And that's where you're going to get your retention.
I heard it said many years ago, Tom, that it's the who, not the what. All right, yep. And we're selling the who, and that's Steve. That's exactly what I'm hearing from you. You're doing some pretty innovative things there. Now, Tom, I don't know about those alignments on the I-90 there between Rochester and Buffalo. If we could do those alignments for life there, I'm not sure how that would work out in your market. What do you think?
Yeah, the pothole belt makes that a little bit makes that one a little bit tricky, but you know, he hit the nail on the head with the people aspect of it. Our people are our number one asset, and if we're not spending time and effort and money involving, engaging and developing our people, it's just a shame. I tell the advisors all the time, you are the value. You're the value. They can go down the road and get the same service somewhere else. You're the value. They come back to see you, be the hero, build the key tossers.
And Tom, you've got some of these products. I know for sure you have Toyota there in your lineup. I believe you have. Do you have Honda as well or no?
Yes, we do. We have 3 Toyota. We have Honda, and we just bought Acura in December.
You got them in bunches there, so you got so many. I love it. Shannon Eckel, let me come over to you out as well on the West Coast. Tell us what happens when the warranty's over. What's the strategy? What's the plan?
Well, all my fellow panelists hit it right on the head. I mean, there was a lot going on right there with everybody talking. So, you know, Ann brought it up right from the start with the whole training of all the employees. Steve ended it with, you know, right down to the service advisor leaving the warm and fuzzy and, you know, not the what, the who that you just brought up. So absolutely, those are all things that are very important. You know, then we get right back to what Jeff was talking about with a lot of prepaid stuff. I myself had Toyota stores that I'd managed in the past, and Toyota Care is a great thing. You know, the manufacturer there actually allowed you to go ahead and continue that Toyota Care product as a prepaid maintenance through another 5 services, I believe it was. But one of the other things that we found at the auto group that I was with is that we actually created our own in-house program. Not necessarily did we go out and have to send somebody maybe to finance or something like this. Like Jeff was talking about, we could sell it right there on the service drive. And it was what every car needs if it's not an electric car or, you know, a car that doesn't get a constant rotation. Lube oil filter change, tire rotation. So basically a minor service. We bundled it up into a 3-pack. And man, the retention value in that alone was huge. It was a lot less costly than the factory programs, but yet had the same utilization that you could do. We got right out there. We stayed right on top of it with our BDC. We stayed on top of it with other forms of reminding our customers about it. Text we talked about earlier inside the forum. So yeah, and we got right out there. We just was aggressive with that on the service drive in the fashion of, you know, communicating to the customers. And the fact that they paid for it actually made them want to come back and redeem it. We put it at a price point that was very, very good. Then of course, you know, we start talking about profitability on the other side of that equation, right? Without, you know, getting to giving the store away, we let the service advisors do their job with, you know, their walk-arounds, things of this nature, and actually selling into the product after that, you know, your cabins, your air filters, things of this nature. And then of course it gets into the shop and we hit on all the other things like the MPI things as well. You know, a lot of companies or OEMs that are starting to come out with rewards programs, actively involved with stuff like that. You know, some of the OEMs right now are so aggressively going after a rewards program to retain their customers that they're starting to put some pretty big dollars behind their rewards programs. And so if you can actively engage in things like that, you know, you just got to win. You got another win, and you've got another win for the customer. And then, of course, like we say, it all gets right back down to your processes, your employees, things like this. You know, I had the opportunity to watch some of your videos, Ted, where you've been doing training on the service drive and just the original approach and the conversation from there. So you couple all those things together, and now you've got yourself a winning product, and people actually want to come do business with people like that, you know, and I think that's the crux of it. You know, and one-stop shop, tires, all that. Yeah, absolutely. You know, why would we send our customers somewhere else? Yes, that is retention at its best, and that's how you're going to do it.
I like that West Her approach, Shannon, that they take care of everything, you know, even the sublets, and do all of that. And going back to Jeff's point as well a little bit earlier about the customer expecting that MPI, you've really ingrained it and trained it so that, you know, if the customer doesn't get it, you know, something's wrong, right? How come I didn't get it, but every other time I was here, now they shortcut it on me. Maybe they were busy or something like that, or they forgot to tell me about it. They forgot to give me a copy. Shannon, you mentioned real briefly BDC. How important is having a BDC, you know, in, you know, retaining that customer long term? Can it be done without having a BDC?
Well, sure, it can be absolutely can be done without it. In my opinion, it's crucial though, and that is going from a store that didn't have one to building one and actually bringing it up to 4 agents in order to run that. I'll be candid with you, that along with a lot of the other products allowed me to take a store that was dead last in retention and over a 2.5-year period of time, take it to #1 in the Western region for Toyota. So, you know, yeah, there's a lot of great things that happen through a BDC because the constant communication, you know, you're able to actually pick up maybe where, let's be honest with ourselves, some service advisors get a little behind the ball. You know, you've got another backup in place there. You've got somebody making outbound phone calls for you, reminding people. So yeah, I believe a BDC is crucial to how a store is to really grow their market, definitely retain their market. And then of course you can throw that BDC, you can throw in the texting with them and have them work at that angle as well. It's a win-win. So yeah, BDC I believe is crucial. Yes.
Let me go over to Steve Hill. Steve, does I-10 Toyota use a business development center?
Yeah, we do. We have a separate one for sales and a separate one for service. And it honestly, you can't, it's 2 different flows. You have to have a BDC that's dedicated to your service department. The jargon's different, the attitude's different, the feel is different, and trying to flip a switch going back and forth just isn't going to work. And if you don't have a solid BDC, you're really missing the point.
And I've seen dealerships try to consolidate that as well. It doesn't always work. You're right. It's a very separate, 2 separate animals there.
Yeah.
Art Shaw over at Repair Pal. Let me come over to you. We've heard some from all these folks are in dealership, right? They're in dealership every day, and they're leading the troops. And they get in. They start early. They work late. And tremendous respect for the retail side of the business. And we've heard some great experts. Art, what about on the Repair Pal side? What can you share with us on retaining that customer after the warranty is over?
Sure. Look at the great ideas that have been shared. A lot around transparency, a lot around people, a lot around training the customer. So maintenance and prepaid maintenance is a great way to continue customers, because maintenance is very much about convenience and cost. When a customer comes out of the warranty, most of them begin over time. It's a slow drop moving away from the dealer. And it happens to be, as we talked about with these incredibly high quality cars, that's when the repairs start going up in years 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right as the repairs are going up is when people start to go away. And the main reason for repairs that people leave, rather than say tires or oil changes, is price. People are actually willing to travel to your dealership, even though it's a little further, but they're worried that they're not going to be paying the right amount. They're worried they're overpaying. It's the number one reason. And so people do, a lot of you do exactly what is so helpful with boards and Dare to Compare. We at Repair Pal know that there are a lot of dealers that are absolutely price competitive, but consumers need validation. They're not just going to trust you because you say you are. And so at Repair Pal, we do the hard work to work with you to make sure your pricing is fair, based on OEM MSRP on parts, based on dealer labor rates, because we're a believer in quality. You can't sort through our site across price providers. It's all about high quality at fair prices. We want consumers to find great quality that the dealers can offer, but they need to understand that they're not overpaying. And so we certify dealers like you all, and like those of you watching the panel, for being fair priced, so that when your service writers are talking to people, service providers can actually say, hey, we're Repair Pal certified, fair pricing. So we're here to help, because you deserve to grow the business. Look how hard everyone is working. But sometimes you need to change the message to address what the real concern consumers have, which is.
So, Art, if I was let's say I was in the Rochester, New York market, and I punched in the zip code there, or in Buffalo, New York, I would be able to pull up a list of certified dealers with Repair Pal. Is that correct? As well as independents also, or what?
That's right. We have 2,700 independents nationwide. So we have a big network. And not only do we have the #1 website for car repair with 5 million uniques coming every month, but we have big companies like CarMax, USAA, Consumer Reports, all providing our network to their customers. So people trust us. Not everyone knows Repair Pal, I know that. But yeah, if you came to our site, you would find these are the dealers that we've worked with that we know are going to charge you a fair price. And fair means not a race to the bottom. You can't race to the bottom when you're providing great quality. Dealers have an amazing offering. And so if you price fairly, meaning MSRP on parts, meaning dealer labor rates, we want consumers to know that you're not going to overcharge them. So yes, if you did that search, we're now launching for dealers, you'll begin finding dealers near you that will provide a great quality repair at a fair price.
And I think there's a lot to be said for validating the price and whether it's good. David Boyle, who's our friend, Tom, from Tire Profiles, says that when customers need a set of tires, that they look online and they shop. And Lizette Gold from Google has validated that as well, that there's a whole tire journey that they go on. And I know I recently got a new set of tires, and I got a price at my local dealer. I drive a BMW, but you know what? I still went out online. I still went and I shopped and I looked. I ended up getting it at the dealer, but the dealer had to validate. He said, if you buy it online, there's also going to be a shipping charge. There's going to be a lot of little stuff. And you know what? I said, I'm going to go back to the dealer. And I had that option of doing something else. And what do you think about the validation of the price? How important is that in the price and service?
So I think that not only validating the price, but validating the service you get. So for instance, we have a lot of people that shop online, same thing. They will get the tires shipped. However, if there's a problem when the tires get there, if there's a problem, even a month down the road, they have to, it's almost an inconvenience So we might be $5, $10 more, which is nothing, but we give you free rotation for life. And we have that service. We are local. You have a problem, you're buying the tire from us. We can get you a new tire immediately. We can patch it. We can fix it. It's not like you're calling an 800 number. It's not like you're getting on a website. We can do it face to face immediately. So we validate your price, but more importantly, we validate the service.
And I think that goes a long way, Art, because you just heard Ann now had the opportunity to be able to sell the benefits of doing the business with the dealership, where a customer who's maybe just focused on, what that price or service or commodity is. Now I get to hear the whole story from the dealership. And you Repair Pal allows us to do that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, think about helping customers understand your fair priced and helping your service advisors, your greatest asset, your interface with consumers, feeling proud that they have found validation around them being fair priced. And frankly, think about cutting back on some discounting, because if you're already fair priced, you don't have to discount. Sometimes discounting just reaffirms the fact that your dealership is too expensive. But if you were fair priced and you could show people you're fair priced and your service advisors felt that they were fair priced, they'd be happy. Now, to be fair, not every independent can be Repair Pal certified, and not every dealer can be Repair Pal certified. So we do work with
criteria, or what's
yeah. So we work with dealers around their pricing structure. Again, our goal is to have fair, full pricing. So we're not trying to have a race to the bottom. We're trying to price around quality and the kind of services that you provide that Ann was talking about. So this is about fairness, and you deserve a fair profit, as does a high quality independent. But your service writers and consumers need to know that you're fair, right? Or else the same objection a consumer has, the fear of being overcharged, is going to continue, and you'll keep reaching out to them, but they're still going to be afraid and potentially not come back.
Jeff Daniel, what tools have you used to validate and to compare for customers? I'm curious.
Well, almost anything with online pricing. I mean, everybody loves the big box Amazon. They want a point and click. They want simple. They want to shop from home. The BDC will price out a set of tires. If a customer calls and inquires, they don't get my advisors. They get the BDC, who gets the information from the consumer. We will then get to the parts department. We will search deals, who's got what brands are available, if we've got them in stock or not. There's a very quick turnaround time, so it doesn't get stuck on somebody's desk where, nobody ever calls the customer back. The BDC has been trained to do that so that they follow up on everything. They'll make the appointment, they sell the road hazard plan or whatever they need to do to lock the customer in the store. We've given them the information to where they can look at some of the big box brands pricing and know where they're priced at. We don't make a lot of money on tires. It isn't about that. It's about keeping that customer's cash in our store, even if it's $10 profit a tire or whatever. It's not discounting. When you start offering coupons every visit, they're going to wait till there's a coupon available. So, sell it, get fair price for it, show them what everybody else is doing, and then deliver what you say you're going to do. If you say it's going to be done in an hour and a half, get it done in an hour and a half. Give them what they ask, and then give them a little bit more. Thank them for the business and invite them back again in a very short period of time for their rotation for the free alignment check, which we offer with every set of tires. It tries to lock them in. Obviously, the intent, get the tires off. Let's look at the brakes. We're very competitive with that. Can't afford that, we'll go aftermarket. It's not, the only part we're going to buy is OEM. If the needs demand price discounting, it's not cutting our price. We can go aftermarket or OEM and give them the opportunity and let the customer decide. And you're not holding a finger to their forehead. It's, you know what, I like the way you did that. I want to go with the better, so give me the better.
I like it. Great information from this panel, everybody. Love it. Love hearing it straight from the experts. Art, if a dealer wants to go ahead and learn more about Repair Pal and get certified and sign up with your program, would you, I know we have this panel here, but would you remain behind after the panel? And we'll put a QR code up on the screen. And if the dealer wants to come and ask you some questions, or a service manager, how they can get involved in their local area, maybe they can get that be the only one in the market or be one of the first in the market. Would you be available for a little bit of networking here after the panel's over?
Ted, I'd be delighted. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Repair Pal's got a great name, everybody, and it's been around a long time. And you know what? There's a focus now, Art, isn't there not, on the dealer side of it? So I know we want to take a look at that, everybody. There's tremendous opportunities here in the new year. So Art's going to be available. If you take your phone, open up your camera, scan the QR code. That'll take you to a room. Art will be available to answer some questions and find out more about your organization. You can find out more about Repair Pal as well. I want to thank everybody here on the panel today. Great job, Ann Lister. Thank you so much. And Tom Drzezinski, you're becoming a veteran here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and a best practice winner, Gene. So you know
right.
he walks the talk. I tell you, Jeff Daniels, so happy and honored to have you here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Great stuff.
Great to be here.
Finally, we got you on here. We got to have you back. Got to have Steve Hill back as well. Steve, thank you so much for all you do for the Roundtable, and
my pleasure.
For all the promotions that all of you help us with as well. And Shannon Eckel, and I was introduced to you by the co-founder of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Mike Vogel. So Shannon, great respect for you. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Art Shaw, Repair Pal, thank you so much. We're honored to have you. You're going to remain behind. And Gene, what do you think?
Hey, what great stuff from this panel. I loved it, and some fascinating ideas. The thing I like about the Roundtable, Ted, that it's not just for the people who work at a dealership. It encompasses everyone in fixed ops and the consumers too. So this was a great panel. I appreciate everything that you shared. And by the way, we have a lot more great stuff coming up right here at Rev It Up on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. So stick around. Well, everyone, I'm excited to share with our next guest, Dan Drews from ARD. Dan is a favorite at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We're excited to have you back, Dan. Welcome to Rev It Up.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me. We're pumped to be here.
Hey, Dan, we're pumped too. Everyone, Dan Drews is the Director of Fixed Operations and Dealer Solutions at Auto Remote Direct. He's a great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, as is ARD. Dan, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having us here.
Dan, you've got always some amazing information. I know today you've got something extremely special to present to the group. Before we do that, I got to tell you that there are so many dealers in the Fixed Ops Roundtable community, who've, really received the benefit of your products at ARD. And with what you do on keys, you are on the forefront of technology. And let me tell you that keys are the technology and the new keys and how this is all evolving rapidly. So congratulations to all the success that you're having and for our dealers as well.
Thank you. Our team inside, our support staff works very hard to stay on top of all the new items coming down and new systems. So I really appreciate that.
And you make this really easy for dealers, a turnkey solution. So I'm excited to see what you've got. We've been talking about this back and forth for about the last couple of weeks. So with that, Dan, I'm going to let you tear it loose.
For sure. So we've got what we refer to now as key replacement on steroids here. So now we're offering key fetch auto, which is essentially key replacement on steroids. So every dealer out there, or most dealers, already have a key replacement policy that they're selling. This one called Key Fetch has a lot more features on it. So it comes with a nice brushed aluminum and leather keychain here that is branded to the dealership. On the flip side here is a nice little website here and a serial number that is specific to the customer. So when the customer purchases this policy at the dealership, the biggest part of this is the key and remote retrieval. So if they were to lose this key, they're showing that 70% of the Good Samaritans out there would turn these in back to the customer. So as the customer gets a policy, they get a QR code, they download the app. If they ever lose the key, Mr. and Mrs. Good Samaritan types in the website, types in the code, and they are in immediate communication with the customer that owns that key. They're instantly notified through chat. And at that point, they can agree on a place where the Good Samaritan can leave the key fob and keys at, say, a Starbucks or a bank. And hopefully everyone lives happily ever after here. So it includes key retrieval, expanded roadside assistance, which is always good for towing and lockout services, and reimbursement for replacement key if it's not retrieved, up to $800. So we've got a few different programs with the key fetch. It also does come with some exciting identity protection, such as some dark web monitoring that protects your social security number, credit cards, bank account, etc. You even get to opt out of the junk mail too. So this is some added benefits that are great with this. We've got some great confidential dealer pricing here. We've got the 12-month, 24-month, and all the way through 72-month policies. So with that 12-month policy and a $200 benefit, it makes it easy for the dealership to even preload as part of some of their VIP programs for $50, just to get the customer on board here, and they're able to upsell them all the way through 72 months at either $200 or a $400 benefit. What we're seeing with our customers, and they're seeing the added benefit here, is all the ARD customers are adding a second key fob to that certified or used car, to compete with the Carvanas and the Vrooms and the CarMaxes that have been doing this for years. So with our program, Fixed Ops is able to make about $125 gross profit across the board on our key fobs and our system, with the recon process with the certified and used cars. And then they turn around and in the finance office or with sales being preloaded here, they can make $200 or $300 in additional gross profit on the policy itself. This also ties the customer back to the selling dealership if the key is lost and we need to replace that. So it's going to send them back to the selling dealership. They're able to purchase that replacement key and fob from us and get that customer rocking and rolling back on the street as soon as possible. And of course, we have Key Fetch integrate the dealership menu, whether you're Reynolds or CDK or one of the other wonderful DNS systems out there. They all come in this nice, pretty little box here that has all the QR codes where the customers scan those and immediately register their vehicle and keys. It also has complimentary cell phone lost protection here included with the Key Fetch program. So we're pretty happy with this Ted. This is allowing dealers to really make an impact, to their bottom line with this policy.
And Dan, you're offering all this under the Auto Remote umbrella. Is that correct?
Yes. Any dealership can sign up with us, regardless if they have our program. But we really like to dig in with that dealership and get them rolling with that key fob program and help make them even more money and their customer even more satisfied.
Something that's unique to ARD is your training and that the way you approach it at the dealerships. Tell me a little bit about it, because you've obviously got to get the staff prepared. And I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, obviously you're going to have folks in the F&I department who are going to be aware of this, but they have to be throughout the dealership as well. How do you go about doing that for a dealer?
For sure. So as soon as the dealership signs up, they're immediately sent some training info. So we do all of our training from our in-house studio. With the tools that we provide in a catalog that we provide to the dealerships, it's very simple. We've made everything easy for them. So in the past, their training was very little to none, and everything was so expensive. It made sense for them to farm this stuff out. It was just so daunting for the dealerships. So we walk them through the ordering process, the cutting process, and the programming process, while also offering 7-day tech support to these dealerships that do need it. So we're there every step of the way. There's unlimited retraining. So if there's turnover or somebody's promoted and somebody else takes that position that's been hanging on to that key program, well, we go ahead and get those folks trained up right away too.
Would a dealership be at a disadvantage if they didn't offer this kind of technology to their consumer with all the things and all the improvements that are happening today with with new vehicles.
For sure. And it's just getting more and more expensive. And these customers, they're demanding that second key and fob, and they're spending a significant amount of money. And if we look at everything, the end consumer, they tell us what they want, and it's up to us to provide it. So we do a pretty good job of onboarding the dealerships with our program and helping them make this a profit center as opposed to a liability. And we're able to spread this across even the larger groups pretty fast.
Talk to me about how this becomes a profit center for a dealership. Give me an example of how that would work.
So these dealerships, they're used to farming this out. So say a push button smart key for a 2019 Altima, they're used to paying $199 to say a mobile locksmith that shows up with the same kind of tools we're onboarding dealerships with. They're going to buy that same fob for around $60 to $65 from us. They don't have to tie up a master technician to do this. Just entry level, or even a detailer can cut and program this. They bill it to the car, and for the same price as the dealership's paying the mobile key guy. There's been that kind of tension between the used car manager and the fixed ops over that. So that's why these mobile guys have been able to sneak in there with this. So we address that. So the used car manager pays the same, and then fixed ops turns around and can get about $120 to $130 gross profit with a 5 to 10 minute job.
I hear what you're saying, that tension between the used car manager and the fixed ops, parts and service. And you're right. Once that mobile company that's coming in gets started, just a little bit here or there, next thing you know, they're like the established solution that the dealership has. So this really helps put all that away, doesn't it?
It does. And now the dealership, you can use this as a retention tool. So if you've got a Nissan dealership that's selling Mazdas or Chryslers, it ties the customer back to them for even a new key fob. They're able to offer 95% of the vehicles on the road right in their own dealership.
And what does a dealer need to get started? Do you equip them with everything that it'll take to get this going?
So we've got a very small consultative process. We just ask them a few simple questions, because if they have an existing key cutter, we can now provide all the tech support for that, get them trained properly to be able to use that. Or if they need a new key cutter, we onboard them with our very simple to use Mini Condor Plus. It has all our SKUs built in. It's about a 3-step process to cut even those daunting laser cut keys. So we've made that real simple. And then we train them on the Smart Box, which is our Android tablet-based tool. It's around $1,699. We've got some great deals on this right now for the Fixed Ops Roundtable, to include $300 in store credit on that. So it brings the ROI on those machines pretty fast. You get that with about 8 smart keys with the Smart Box.
And Dan, there's also the unspoken message to the customer, because customers today are really transfixed on technology. And what we've got on this phone, we expect to be able to go on our phone, do things by just, I think Brian Benstock says it best, that if you can't make the purchase with your thumb on your phone, it's not simple, and it's not easy, and it's not convenient. If the dealership is not able to offer the customer a second key on that vehicle, that's an unspoken message right there, isn't it? They should be able to do stuff.
For sure. And we've taken that same message to the dealerships too with our ARD app. So if you've got a technician or a parts guy that's out in the service lane starting the recon process, they can immediately use the ARD app to look up the key, double check the button pattern on it, and immediately add it to their cart to order it. And generally things get across the country to every dealership about 2 business days from us.
Let's look into the future, the near future. How important is this going to be, Dan, as part of Fixed Ops in the future, to be able to offer a solution like this for dealerships?
It's essential, especially with all the other digital brands coming out there like Carvana and the Vroom. So they're already doing this, and everybody's going to have to jump on board. And they may as well make this a nice little profit center and use it as the great retention tool that it is.
Everyone, Dan Drews at ARD, Auto Remote Direct, will get you started in the key business of the future. It's the key business of today. Dan, I know your number is at the bottom of the screen here. We've got that information. Would you stay behind if we have some people who have some questions?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to put a QR code up on the screen right now, everybody. If you take your mobile device, open the camera, and scan that QR code, that'll take you to a Zoom room, and you can ask Dan questions right now, live, about how this would work in your dealership, in your dealer group. Do a little bit of networking with Dan, find out some of the dealerships and the big dealer groups that they're in, and talk about some of the success stories, and a great opportunity to meet one-on-one with Dan Drews at ARD.
For sure. We look forward to it.
Dan Drews here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And Ted, we're going to do a break right now, but coming up after that break is John Melashenko from the Germain Automotive Group. Stay with us here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.